and I'm here in Havana, Cuba, here with Milsania Lopez. Can you introduce yourself, Milsania, and tell us where you're here from and where you're teaching, as well as our teaching technique?
Okay, hello, it's a pleasure for me to be here. I am the Dean of the Foreign Languages Faculty at Universidad de Oriente in Santiago de Cuba, the second most important university in Cuba, and I work there at the Universidad de Oriente. We have the Foreign Language Faculty, and we have two majors there. The majors for the ones who want to be teachers of English and foreign languages in general, and the one for translators and interpreters.
That's wonderful. So two majors for teachers that want to become teachers of English and others that want to become interpreters or translators. Yes. That's excellent to have both of those. So you shared a teaching tip with me before. You might share with our audience. What is one of the ways you really motivate your teachers to become teachers?
Well, I'm a teacher of didactics of the foreign language teaching, but I've been teaching a subject to first-year students at the major of education. And I find out that they enter the university without motivation for being teachers. So the motivation they have mainly is for learning the languages, I mean English and sometimes French, that is the second language they studied at that major. And finding out that, I started thinking in a way they could realize how important it is to be a teacher of English. And so I started assigning them tasks in which they interview some of the most experienced teachers of the major. And so they are assigned to make a short video about the real work those teachers have been doing during many years. And so we prepare a questionnaire, and they participate in selecting the questions they want to ask to those teachers, and I also suggest some of the questions, guiding them to realize the real work those people have done for years in the teaching of English and in the formation of teachers of English. And so this has been resulting a very interesting thing, since they really changed their vision about the profession. And so they have like a workshop at the end where they present the work, the audiovisual work they have done, and also they like interact, saying their experiences by interviewing the professors, how these have moved their thinking about the profession in some other ways, and I have achieved they can realize like how important it is to be a teacher of English, and how important have been those persons in the formation for many years of different generations of teachers. And so I think it's a contribution to the way they can be aware of this beautiful profession, and a way that they start thinking with so much love about this.
That's an incredible topic. So for our listeners out there, if I'm understanding correctly this method, if you will, to motivate teachers to really be excited about their profession, not just go into a profession because they love English, but they also need to love teaching, obviously. So to learn from other teachers that have been their teachers, or professional teachers that have had a great impact in the world. When they hear their stories, it really motivates them to realize the impact they may have on other students' lives in the future. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. And when we are like in the workshop debating what their impressions about the interview, I sometimes ask them to define the teacher that they interview with one word. And they sometimes say they are respectful people, that they are amazed by what they have found, they said also very professionals, and they never imagined that in such a profession there could be persons doing like amazing things, the amazing things they have found when doing the interviews.
One thing it makes me think, I was actually going to ask you, one of the interviewers, who have they interviewed and the impact that had on them? I know, for example, students who have interviewed me in the past have loved the idea of teaching in other countries around the world. I have had the great opportunity to teach in countries from Indonesia to Ecuador to Albania and Cuba, and I'm now in Colombia. And some people don't think about all the opportunities that being a teacher of English might open for you, not only in your own country, but around the world. Have you had other testimonials of teachers they've interviewed that have really motivated them?
Yes, because, for example, they were like, and this teacher I interviewed have gone to 5 or 7 countries around the world. And can we do that, teacher? They asked me if they can do that in the future. I said, yes, you have the possibility to do it. And I also tell them my story because I entered the university willing to be a biologist.
A biologist?
Yes.
Yeah.
I never dreamed of being a teacher of English. And then when I started studying languages, I loved that. But what made me felt in love with my profession was the first time I entered a classroom. It was a 7th grade classroom, and when I realized the potentialities I have to direct myself with those students, and I saw I could make them learn, it was like magic. And I had so many opportunities to do some other works, but I still here after, I may say, 30 years.
Yes, that's amazing. That actually reminds me, when I was 24, 25 years old, I was studying Spanish in Quito, Ecuador, and I had the opportunity to teach at the university only because I was a native English speaker, but I didn't have any training as a teacher. But it was that magic, as you say, when I went into the classroom and could help light up other people's lives because they loved learning. And you almost realize you have a gift to share with the world, not just sharing language, but sharing the method of how to learn the language and how to become communicative in the language. Now, after that, I went back to the States and helped a lot of immigrants and refugees in the States to learn English when they came to the United States for the first time. And again, it's really kind of magical, as you say, because you really realize how much you're empowering others in their future lives and careers and enabling them to enter society in a different level that you can't without the access to language, right? Only because I was a native English speaker, but I didn't have any training as a teacher, but it was that magic, as you say, when I went into the classroom and could help light up other people's lives because they loved learning. And you almost realize you have a gift to share with the world, not just sharing language, but sharing the method of how to learn the language and how to become communicative in the language. Now, after that, I went back to the States and helped a lot of immigrants and refugees in the States to learn English when they came to the United States for the first time. And again, it's really kind of magical, as you say, because you really realize how much you're empowering others in their future lives and careers and enabling them to enter society in a different level that you can't without the access to language, right? So it's a beautiful way to engage teachers or pre-teachers in the idea of teaching by interviewing veteran teachers, right? That's the essence of it. What would you recommend for our teachers out there if they have some pre-teachers? Would you be able to share some resources with them for interview questions or that kind of thing, or how long the interviews are, how the parameters you use for this technique?
No, short interviews, but they just go mainly in the questions around how did they become teachers of English, which were the main motivations they had, and also how have they gone through through their
Career.
yes, through their whole career, doing different things. They also ask for advices as students of foreign languages. What do they advise them for having a better development of the communicative competence? And also, one important question we always ask the students to do is to tell experiences that important experiences they had as teachers.
Yeah, how they've impacted students' lives.
Yes, into the students' lives.
Which is probably one of the greatest motivations for teaching, right? We don't get paid monetarily, but we get paid in our hearts and souls.
Yes.
Thank you so much for these ideas. I think this will be wonderful for teachers globally to hear about and to motivate the future teachers. How can they find you if they want to ask any questions? Do you have an email or a website they could find you in order to be in touch?
I don't have a website, but I have an email. It's milsania@uo.edu.cu.
We can put that in our show notes for our listeners. And again, she is in the east part of the Oriente of Cuba, in Santiago. I have not yet been able to visit, but I hope to in the future.
Yes, we will. You could go to our university. You are invited to go every time you want.
Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate your time to share with us today and hope this idea can be great for other teachers out there to motivate their future
for this
teachers.
opportunity.
Thank you for joining us today. Great pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.